I'm Eva Oh, and this is the Teakink podcast. I've been a dominatrix since 2011, and I would like to spill the tea on my life. Thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you by Chyrpe, a dating app specifically designed for power exchange relationships, and especially for dominant women who are tired of being approached like a fetish category instead of a human being. Chyrpe isn't your usual swipe fest. It's kink aware, yes, but it also prioritizes clarity, consent, and actual compatibility. So if you're a dom or someone who wants to approach one with a little more grace, start there. Link is in the show notes. Now, let's get into today's episode. So, you want to date a dominant woman? If you open with, "Mistress, I'll do anything you want," my first thought is, I want you to disappear. Because here's the truth. Dating a dominant woman isn't about begging to be used. It's about learning how to respect power and not just consume it. Today, we are peeling back the curtain on femdom dating. We will talk about what dominant women actually want, what submissives often get wrong and sometimes right, and why the fantasy of dating a dom is so much less interesting than the reality. Let's begin with the obvious battlefield: dating apps. If I list dominant woman in a profile, I already know what's coming. Squirt emojis, dick pics, and at least 3 men who think that the height of seduction is calling me goddess before I've said hello. Why? Because for a lot of people, dominance is aesthetic, not behavior. They fetishize the look, not the presence, not the intention, and definitely not the labor. It's wild how many will try to script a scene in the first 5 messages and still can't spell consensual. But honestly, the dating app landscape for dominant women, it's a minefield of mediocrity, which is why I was intrigued when I came across Chyrpe, a dating app actually designed for femdom-led dynamics. Unlike the usual flood of low-effort messages and generic kink menus, Chyrpe understands that power exchange begins at the first interaction, and it's built intentionally. And yes, it's very dom-forward. If you're a submissive who wants to engage respectfully, start there. If you're a dom, it's rare to feel seen in this space. And Chyrpe is the first app that I've seen that doesn't confuse dominance with drama. Dominant women on mainstream apps face weird cocktail of desire and dismissal. You're either put on a pedestal or expected to perform a cartoon fantasy on demand. The dominant woman's experience. Imagine logging on, receiving 30 messages, and 25 of them read like spam from a bad porn plot. "I want to be your slave. I'll do anything, goddess." No introduction, no context, no curiosity. Dominant women are navigating a space where their power is both desired and disrespected, fetishized, but not understood. And the moment you want to be treated like a real person with boundaries and a brain, people feel disappointed because the fantasy they brought into the interaction didn't allow for your autonomy. If you are a submissive person genuinely seeking connection, hello, you are welcome here. But please know A dominant woman doesn't want to be a checkbox in your kink bingo. She doesn't want your desperation. She wants your attention. Submissives often mistake domination for costume, mood, or scripted control, when actually dominance can be deeply relational, psychological, or emotional. It's not just the latex and stilettos, unless we want it to be. Opening with the list of your fetishes isn't connection, it's projection. Leading with I'll do anything is nothing. You are not offering yourself. You are offloading the burden of knowing yourself. What submissives often get wrong is that they lead with the kink. They mistake submission for self-erasure. They assume that to be appealing, they must offer total control immediately before any trust or rapport has been built. So, what does get through? Presence, respect, the ability to hold your own nervous system. Dominance isn't about being cold, hard, untouchable. It's about clarity, about energy. Healthy power dynamics require discernment. They need pacing. Submissives who are actually attractive are the ones who are calm, centered, and not seeking to unload their identity onto the nearest dominant they find. If someone approaches me with quiet confidence, patience, and an awareness of why they are drawn to this dynamic, that is compelling. For example, someone once messaged me, I don't know if we are compatible, but I've been thinking about what it means to be led, and I would like to learn. That got a response because submission isn't servitude, it's a relationship to power. And the good ones, they are not asking what they can take, they are asking what they can build. Got it? Let's talk red flags and green flags. So, red flags. Someone who talks about submission constantly but can't listen. Someone who wants to skip boundaries and get straight to the role play. Someone who demands your time without earning your attention. Green flags. Thoughtful questions, calm presence, the ability to self-regulate. Submissives who offer clarity, not chaos. Good submissives are frankly emotionally competent. They offer clarity, consistency, and don't use submission as a way to avoid responsibility. I'll tell you 2 quick stories. One man showed up to a first date with a checklist of kinks. He called it my offering. I called it my exit. Another brought tea, sat quietly, let the silence fill the room, then said, I don't know what this will be, but I'm here for the real version of it. That got a second date. So, you want to date a dominant woman? Ask yourself, are you chasing a fantasy, or are you ready to meet power with something more than performance? Because dating us isn't about playing a role. It's about being able to stand in front of someone who doesn't need to be chosen and still try. If you are submissive, hoping to date someone dominant, be curious, be consistent, and remember, dominance isn't something you consume. It's something you relate to. And if you are a dom, vetting is your sacred ritual. It's not about paranoia. It's about protecting the energy that makes you powerful. Thank you for listening and watching Teakink. If you liked this episode, send it to someone who needs to learn the difference between power and posture. And if you are still thinking about where to even begin with femdom dating, you might want to try Chyrpe. It's one of the few platforms that's trying to get it right. Because when the platform respects the dynamic, the connection has a better chance of being real.